So you've been advertising on Amazon for a while and things are getting unruly. The number of campaigns, the number of portfolios, the number of targets are growing. And now you feel like each time you need to bid, update, or optimize, it takes you forever. Hi, my name is Matt Davis, and I'm the advertising director here at My Amazon Guy. And today we're going to talk about bulk updates, specifically Bulk Sheets 2.0. Amazon recently did a beta update for their bulk sheets, changed some key things around, the most significant of which is now you can do sponsored display. It includes sponsored display. For those of you who don't understand what bulk means, it just means the ability to change your bids, change your budgets, your bid strategies. It gives you greater control over bid strategies. That's another difference too. Based on one Excel spreadsheet, and you change it in mass rather than going into each campaign, each ad group, looking at each keyword, right? The search term reports. So when you need to make a lot of changes at once, right? It's great for optimizing, for updating your bids, which is what we're going to do today. I'm just going to show you our process, our very sort of basic first level process for sponsored products, but the process would be the same. You just repeat it for sponsored brand and sponsored display. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive in. There we are. Okay. So I should probably back up here. This is Steven's Momster account, his personal Seller Central account. Okay, so we're going to go to advertising from your homepage, campaign manager. Excuse me. And a good ad professional, even when they're doing a bulk update, if they haven't been in the account for a while, they will still, maybe play with the targeting API, go look at some individual campaigns, go look at some actual ads, go look at the PDP, right? Brands have personality, products have personality. Don't just go straight to, think of it, the analogy I like to use is like flying a plane, right? A pilot will go to autopilot once he's at a cruising altitude, but when he takes off and when he lands, he's holding sticks himself. Kind of like that. All right, so from there, you're going to use your fun left column here, and you're going to go to over here, sponsored ads. And you got three options here, and you're going to go to bulk operations. Okay, so a couple things that you need to set, and you can see if you want to still use the legacy spreadsheet format, you can, but I recommend you go to the beta. It's just faster, and now that it includes sponsored display, there's really no reason not to. There's only a couple key changes, which we will cover today. Okay, you want to get your date range right first. Amazon offers some sort of static preset options here. These are great options. If you want to go quickly, 7, 30, and 60 are kind of the ones we go to, but 14 is fine too. We kind of get snapshots of all of them at the agency. These are great. Save these, right? If you wanted to see, why am I doing so much better this year than last year, or worse this year than last year, right? Is it just market changes, or is there actually something different I was doing in Target? If you have this file saved away somewhere, it's the snapshot in time, right, of what you were doing. My target or my product got suppressed, right? And now it's back up, and I want to know what was I doing 3 months ago that was working for me, right? I made an optimization and my ACoS shot through the roof. We don't want to do that, right? Let's go back to how it was a week ago. How were we a week ago, right? You'll have that snapshot. So it's a good bit of housekeeping to just save those. On the agency, at My Amazon Guy, we do it at least once a week, sometimes twice, depending on the velocity of data acquisition for an individual account. Okay, so get your timeline right. Fernando, one of my senior PPC managers here, has a tactic where he likes to go from 2 days or 3 days back to 32 or 33 days back as a sort of standard. And the reason for that is that you don't really have a full data attribution for these days, particularly for today, which is still going on, right? It's about 2 p.m. in the afternoon where I am right now. So you know that you're probably for these 2 days not dealing with complete data, and you don't really want to make decisions, especially decisions in mass, based on incomplete data, targeting data. So it's always best to just back it up about 48 to 72 hours, whatever is your preference, right? Boom, you hit save. Now it's got the right. And then in terms of what you want to exclude, sort of depends on what you're doing. For the purposes of optimization, we don't need brand asset data. So I do want to exclude this, right? If you were looking at maybe creative differences, that might be different. Campaigns with 0 impressions, I actually do want to look at that, right? Campaigns with 0 impressions can tell me, is there a suppression? Impressions is basically eyes on page. So if I'm getting 0 impressions, my ad's not displaying anywhere, it means either there's a suppression, a stock out, some other reason my ad's not displaying, maybe my bids aren't competitive, something going on with my listing, right? But that should clue you in. So I actually do want to see that. Terminated campaigns, I'm okay with excluding because they're terminated. If they're not active, they're not impacting me, right? The only time I might want to see that is if this is, I wanted to see history, campaigns that I'd closed. Maybe I want to see if those are still effective for some reason. I might want to revive them. Okay, but for the purposes of this, we won't, we'll exclude that, and then we'll hit create spreadsheet for download. Now this is a fairly large account. We do a lot of demos on this account, as anybody who follows Steven's Amazon channel will tell you. So I've gone ahead and taken the liberty. This is from about 20 minutes ago. If it's a small account, this will take about 5 seconds. It'll say pending over here until you refresh. You'll keep hitting refresh. And if it's a larger account with more campaigns, more SKUs, more targeting data, it'll take longer, right? So I know from experience, this one takes 5 to 10 minutes. So in the purposes of expediency, I've gone ahead and downloaded it. One thing I do want to note here is this may show up differently. If you have an Apple computer, this will likely open with a bunch of filters preset. If you have a PC-based platform, as I do, this will probably open without filters. And at times you will want them and at times you won't. We'll dig into that. So one of the differences between the 2.0s, now you've got to tell what operation you want to do. Kind of similar to the flat file on the listing side, right? So we're going to tell it today, we're going to do an update. Control copy, control shift down, control V, right? That's if you're a PC. Okay. All right, now some similar data, but you notice some things are moved around, right? The targeting data is way over here now. And you've got, right, your bid strategy and your bid placement. So let's start there. As I always tell my staff or anybody that I'm coaching, you need to understand what the bidding behaviors are in terms of, are you upping the bids and placement for product page, for top of search? Are you dynamic up and down? Are you dynamic down? Are you fixed, right? All that is going to vastly, significantly impact what your bid behavior actually is when you're talking about how much you're bidding, right? So for right now, I actually do kind of want a filter here going all the way back. We'll just say that filter. Okay. And we'll go back over here, and there's a couple things I do want to filter for, right? I want to filter for state. I want to eliminate blanks, and I want to eliminate paused. I want to only see things that are active, right? And then let's look at our bidding placements. And again, don't want to see blanks. And that was our strategy rather. And then for placement, I also don't want to see blanks. Okay. What I think that's telling me is that there are no specifics for this account in terms of, at least for active campaigns, in terms of any placement changes, right? And then we're going to sort this guy. And I think because this is a fairly optimized account, I think what they're saying is that there's no update there either. Okay. All right. So, but basically, if there were changes to be made here, right? If there were differences in placement, let's get rid of this. Yeah, if there were differences in placement, you might see them here. And if there were updates in terms of, what we were doing, meaning if we were bidding more for a certain amount of, right, if we were bidding more for top of search, if we were bidding more for product page, you would see that information. The reason it's blank, this is a live demo, as you can see, the reason it's blank is because this is probably fairly optimized and we're not doing that right now, because the data doesn't support it. And what you see here is we can sort this. We've sorted out, so we've already filtered for blanks, and then I'm just going to sort it by type. Right, so it's dynamic down only. And this is fixed bids, and there's dynamic up and down, right? So looking at the data, it doesn't look like it's doing anything at all in terms of ACOS. Let's see what it's doing in terms of, okay. So if I wanted to make a change here, I could, right? I could highlight these guys. Let's say I wanted to change these guys to, they're not getting any traffic, so it's not doing anything right now. But let's say I wanted to highlight these guys. Right, and I wanted to change these guys to dynamic down. I could insert that and create a new sheet. Basically, insert the changes I wanted here, copy paste all this data into a new sheet here, and submit that as a change, which we'll get to. But I don't want to do that right now. I kind of want to go straight to the bid update. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So we've got a bunch of data here, right? And we want to sort of see what's going on. Oh, also, let's see. We also want to filter, sorry, I'm forgetting stuff here. We also want to filter campaigns. Oops. One sort. So you know what? I'm just going to add a filter on all these guys just to make it super simple for now. Okay. Still got our update. Let's see if we're still filtered for enabled. We are not. So I'm going to have to redo that. Apologize. And let's go. We don't need to solve for that because we already sort of figured out that the dynamic up and downs, the places where we're bidding fixed and dynamic down are not accumulating data, which means they're not hurting our spend. So we don't need to do that for the purposes of this optimization. So let's go straight to bidding, but we do want to make sure we're not looking at any paused campaigns, and we're not looking at any blank or paused ad groups. Okay, so now let's go to, that's our keyword ID, excuse me. Some of these things are jumping around. It's still kind of new to me as well here. So here you go, you got your keyword types, your match, and here's your bid, right? So here's another one. Let's get rid of the blanks. Okay, boom, right? And let's go over to our ACOS and let's sort. For now, let's get rid of 0 and let's get rid of blanks, which we don't have. Okay. And then I want to sort largest to smallest. All right. So here's where sort of the rubber meets the road when we get to an optimization, right? So know what your target ACOS is ahead of time, right? So in this case, we know on this account, I think the target ACOS is 35%, right? So you've got quite a bit of ACOS right here. One thing, let's insert a column, insert column. Okay. And I actually, If you like ROAS, you can use that. I like ACOS better, so I'm going to get rid of this just because it's basically telling me the same information and I don't want to confuse myself. But if you like ROAS, by all means. Okay, so in here, I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this max bid divided by CPC. Right. Well, really just, I guess it's not even max bid anymore. It's just bid divided by CPC. So this is going to tell us effectively what is our current bid compared to the average cost per click. Are we under that or are we over that, right? Are we bidding aggressively or are we bidding conservatively, right? Then based on that, this is going to be where we're going to put our new bid, and then any notes, which we'll just save. Again, we'll save as our sheet for later. These aren't, it's not going to hurt anything if we upload this. Okay, so we filtered, and I just want to check my filters here. All right, it looks like we filtered all for enabled and campaign. I can see those filters active. Okay, so bid divided by CPC is just, we're going to find out over bid, which I think is over in column J now. What's kind of over here? Nope, I was wrong. It's column T, excuse me, right? So these are, so we're going to go, excuse me, so it's column T. So we're going to go, right? This guy is going to equal, not going to equal, it's going to equal T divided by your cost per click, right? So what this is showing me is how far under, right? So, and you see current cost per click $1.51 and our current bid 71 cents, right? So we'll go Control C, Control Shift down, Control V, right? You can see it taking a little time to calculate those formulas, right? Which is just the same thing, which is just your bid divided by your cost per click. And again, what we're looking for, the danger zone, is where you have this, right? A cost that is wildly higher than your target A cost. And this, what this means, anything above 1 means you are bidding over your current cost per click, which means you are effectively bidding above the waterline. You're being aggressive in a place where you're already not converting, right? So you've got all these bids, right? And again, a bunch of places where we've got 1. But first, before I'm getting ahead of myself here, first, okay, again, I said our target A cost was 35%, right? So we've got a target A cost of 35%. And all the way down, we're going to look at, okay, 35%. Now, within a couple points, right, it's kind of okay, right? It's close enough. Fernando, my PPC manager, who is the sort of driver on this process, by the way, so kudos to him for teaching our whole team how to do this better and faster. 3 points, right? The reason being 3 points, because if you're close to that A cost, you might not want to fidget with the bid too much, right? Again, the purpose here is to get your bids effective, competitive. So you're getting impressions, you're getting ads shown, right? But at an effective clip. As soon as you start to heat up, you show too much, you're not converting effectively enough, you want to control that bid to sort of conserve that spend, right? Okay, so we said 35, so we'll call it, you know, let's go to maybe there. That's 30, that's effectively 38, right? Okay, and we're going to call that guy, we're just going to highlight those guys red, right? And then really within that, 35 times 2 is 70, right? So 70% A cost is effectively double the target A cost that we're shooting for. Another important note I want to make about this. Those of you who've ever watched me or heard me talk have heard me say that different campaign types have personalities, meaning you may not grade an auto campaign by the same metrics or rubrics that you judge a hero exact keyword campaign, right? So it's important to note that, and bulk can sometimes cause you to miss things like that. So that is one of the limitations of any type of bulk update, is you have to make sure that you're segmenting, right? So we could get more complex, and that is how we do it, by the way, right? We would segment for different campaign types. If we wanted to do this just for auto campaigns, for example, and then operate on a different A cost, we would do that. But in the purposes of trying to keep this as concise as possible, especially for a talker like me, we'll just focus on the basic optimization, but know that that is an option. but you need to be cognizant of that, right? If you just do one for one size fits all, you're going to miss those things. I'm intentionally sort of bulldozing through that nuance right now in the again, in the interest of sort of expediency. Okay. So at this point is 2x, right? So we're going to leave that red because that's effectively, we're double what our target efficiency is. Within this range, we might go, well, let's go maybe, you know, to here within 10 points, we'll maybe call that, let's go orange. Whoops, let's go orange. And again, the reason I'm segmenting that way is just not to hurt your eyes. It's just because we're going to make bid changes at different percentages effectively, based on how far off the mark we are, right? And so, okay, these guys within 10%, these are very, very slight changes. We'll make these guys yellow. And maybe I'll just, instead of doing that, I'll do this and I'll do black text to go easy on your eyes. And we'll do, there we go, do it. Hope that makes it a little bit easier to watch. I apologize. Okay. So now what we're looking at is what are we going to do with our new bid, right? So for these guys where we are more than 2x, right? You can see we're already, and I know that my team has made an update in this account relatively recently. So I want to be careful to actually upload this. I may not actually upload this, but in real life, you can see we're already effectively at 50% of our bid, but we're at like 5 times the effective the ACoS that we want. So I'm going to go, this is going to equal this. Well, let's go, actually, we're going to go to the, we're going to go to the current bid, which is this guy. So it's going to equal that. And then we're going to go times 0.5. Why times 0.5? Right? That's effectively having the bid again. Right? So from 71, taking it down half again, is 36. Right? And I'm going to do that for everything that's more than 2x more my target ACoS. Again, this is rough and dirty, right? If you had different campaign types, if you had different targeting strategies, different marketing strategies within your portfolios, right? That's what the portfolio section is for over here. That's what this guy is for, right? Boom. You can organize by, you can sort by anything, right? I'm being rough and dirty intentionally, but I don't want to miss, I don't want to just brush past the fact that there is some nuance here, right? But just to keep it rough and dirty, right? Over 50%, I'm having that bid. Right. And it looks like we're kind of already on point in most places, but here, right? 1, 1, 1. Any place that's over 1, that means we're effectively bidding over the effective cost per click. We're being aggressive in effect in places where we do not convert effectively. Right. So I'm essentially chopping all those bids in half all at once. Okay. So now with these guys, you know, now we're in a little bit more gray area, right? With these guys, I might chop them, let's say, only 40%, right? Or even 30%, whatever you think is going to work for you based on your go-to-market strategy. For the purposes of this exercise, let's just call it 40%. So we'll go equals, right? And we'll go over here and grab our bid. Equals, make sure I get the right one. Oh boy, don't get the wrong one, right? Bang, right? Times, and this time you go 0.6, right? 60% up, AKA dropping your bid by 40%, right? Boom, there's your new bid. Okay, Control C, you can take that one down to there, right? And you see you've got your bid updates there, right? Okay, so then we got to the last little bit here. Right. And we've got we're within 10 points now. Right. So again, depends on how aggressive you want to be. This time I'm going to say we're only going to bid reduce 10% on this. Right. So let's go equals. we're at 1866. This guy, whoops, equals that guy. And now we're going to go times 0.9 or 90% of that bid, right? C. V. Okay, so that brings us to chopping down the bids that we don't like. Of course, the flip side of that is let's update the bids that we do like. All right, so we're at 35%. We can say 3 points above or below, as my man Fernando would say, is sort of black territory, right? It's kind of close enough. We don't really want to fidget with that. It's right at the line. And then these guys are all guys that have ACOS where we might actually want to turn up the juice, right? Especially like an example of that where you've got, 19% ACOS 0.8, right? So now you're looking for things that are under 1. All right, so let's grab, I'm going to come back and I'm going to sort by orders real quickly. Oops, wherever they are. They are up here, orders. So I'm going to get rid of this filter. Okay, and I'm going to filter instead by orders. I'm going to get rid of zeros and I'm going to go largest to smallest. Boom. Right, okay. So now we've got our top order getters and anything that's sort of below 32, 31, let's just start with 30 just to be safe, right? Grab these guys all the way to the bottom and make these guys green because these guys are money, right? That's the money makers right there. Now we've gotten rid of that. I want to resort by orders now that we're sort of looking for the winners, as it were. So I want to get rid of 0 orders and I want to sort largest to smallest. Aha, right? So now we can clearly identify, because we've created a little color filter for ourselves, we can clearly identify some of the places what our cost per click is and what our current bid is, right, as relative to our cost per click. So now we're looking for places where we are under 1, right, where it's green here and we are under 1, because that would tell us that we're effectively bidding too conservatively. And if you're thinking these look all kind of on the nose, again, it's because my team optimizes this account. I think they optimized it like 3 days ago. So it's all pretty much going to be close, right? But we do have some cases here, right? We've got some cases here. So right here, this guy, right? That's fairly close. That's 34. I don't even know that I would touch that. Right here, right? 0.91. So we are within, so we're, 30%, 35% is our target ACOS, and we are, 20 points under that. So again, it's going to be a bit of how aggressive you want to be, but equals, go over to your same process, right? You grab your bid, make sure that that's the bid. That is not the bid. So equals, go grab your actual bid, which is that guy. That's the bid. And then multiply that. And now you're going to multiply it by more than 1, right? Depending on how much you want to go up. So in this case, let's say I wanted to go up 50%, right? Aha, now my new bid is 71. What did I do wrong there? I did something wrong. Okay. All right. I was reading the wrong. That's freaking out. It's like, do I not know math? What's going on here? All right. So it was 79 cents. It's now $1.19. That works. That makes a lot more sense. Oh boy. Like I gotta have to redo this whole 20-minute video here. Okay. Right. So, and again, why? Because it's showing that we're actually paying under the cost per click, right? We were paying 79. The average cost per click is 87. We want to bring it up. Right, so that's a fairly aggressive one. Going up that far is fairly aggressive, right? But at 9.6% ACoS, it might be warranted, right? And then down here, it's important to remember we are getting sort of low on total order number now, but it is still multiple orders. And cost per click here is 58, and we're bidding 93% of that. So our bid is 54, right? So we might up that, you know, not quite as much. Right. Oops. So I wanted to just up it a bit, right? 20%. Okay. I think that's it. And if you're wondering why we don't have more changes here, well, 0.71, that's fairly low. Although we're still pretty close. That one's going to go, right? 0.77 equals. Passed it. There we go. No. Right. And that is 50% up to the bid. All right. So I think that's where we'll leave it, because these are down to single orders now, and I don't see anything that's great. So normally on optimizations, you will see more sort of soil to till on the increase side, right? That second part of it was just me upping the number of bids where it was successful, and there wasn't much to do there because my team's sort of on it, right? Okay, so now we've got our new bid, right? And we are going to filter this guy and eliminate blanks. And again, it's taking a while because it's a big account, or at least it has a lot going on, rather, right? Okay. So now I'm going to grab all these guys. And sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. First, I'm going to grab all of this. All of that. Now I'm going to go Control C, and I'm going to go over to my new book that we created way back when. Right. Tab 1. Right where it says bid. We're going to grab our new bids. Grab our new bids. Oops, a little too far. right there. And we're going to plug them in over here. Oops. Control Shift down, save myself some time here. Okay, check to make sure they line up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do also is I'm going to highlight them so that when I come back, I know that this has changed. All right. Okay. So that's my one change. The other change I want to go do, I'll create a new sheet, go back. The other change I would like to do is now I'm going to go back and let me undo some of these filters here. So I don't need the new bid filter anymore. So clear that filter. Okay. And now I want to see orders that equal 0. So only orders that equal 0. And now I want to sort by clicks. Right? The purpose here is to identify all the places where I'm getting traffic, but no conversion, 0 conversion, right? You can see here at the top, got 46,000 impressions in the last 30 days, right? 77 clicks, not an order, right? So I want to see what my current bid is here. So current bid is $3, right? So I'm gonna say this guy equals. So I'm just doing the same thing, right? That guy put my phone filter out here. That guy divided by that guy. Whoops. Sorry about that. Divided by that. There we go. Right. Okay. So I'm just sort of doing the same thing, right? And now why am I doing this if I have 0 orders? Well, it's because I just want to see, whoops. Okay, there we go. All right, so I just want to see here, right? You can see clearly here, these are places where I'm bidding over, despite the fact that I have, so really like anything over, you know, maybe 12 clicks, depending on how much you're spending, right? But look at this. So, I mean, I might not mess with this, under $10 to spend. That's still not very much, right? $13, $11. I might leave that. Okay, so I'm going to just decide. I'm going to make a human intuitive judgment, right? That this one is going to be my mark, right? These guys. Mark these guys red. Why am I marking these red, right? This is enough traffic. This is $30. 11, 12, 12, 14. Well, I guess if I've got to do that one, I've got to do these. But it's a combination of looking at spend or clicks, right? Certain clicks are going to be more expensive than others, depending on where you're advertising, what you're advertising. Y'all should know that by now. All right, so these guys, what we have here is several places where we're bidding way too high, right? So if we have certainly more than 15 clicks and 0 orders, I want to half at least half all of these guys. So I'm going to say it's going to equal my current bid, which is here. It's going to equal that times 0.5, right? Oops. 2940, aha, times 0.5. There we go. Live videos. All right, so we got that. Control C, Control Shift down, Control V. It's okay if most of it is div 0, that's fine. Okay, so I got my new bids here. Well, I don't even need to do that, actually. I'm gonna undo that, sorry. Because I'm only taking the top, these top guys. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. All right, so we're gonna go just to here. There we go. So here are our new bids now, right? If I was taking notes, I would say, hey, take some notes, blah, 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 have the bids, whatever, right? Those could go straight into an update for a client or whatever, just to keep track of it for your own mind. The reason we add notes is more for internal because we're tracking for client updates, right? Okay, so I've halved all these bids here, right? See what our current bids are. Yep, 241, 121. Yep, okay, so we've halved everything and we're gonna go. So now we're gonna take these guys. Oops. Copy. Paste. All right, we're gonna take our new bids. Put them here. Boom. Right. Highlight them. All right, now we're gonna save this guy. And you can call it whatever you want. I normally like to call things something super intuitive. So I will say, you know, let's call it Momster optimization bid update, whatever. Let's call it Momster bid update. And then it's May 11th, 5/22. 5/11/22. Okay. Boom. All right, so now we got that. All right, and so let's get rid of this. Let's go back here and we're gonna choose this guy to do an update. We're going to search for Momster, wherever I put it. All right, so here's the file. Grab it. Upload to process changes. Right. And it should give you a processing upload here, right? And if it starts to have an error, it will usually tell you somewhere in here, right? You can see the other ones that have processed successfully in the past. So I'm going to pause and just make sure that that uploaded successfully. And if not, I'll come back and tell you about any changes and why I had to change it, where I screwed up and why. So stay tuned on that. Okay, so we can see here, my changes were processed successfully. And I could come back and check the API. So that's how you do it. I just made 77 effective bid updates in about 20 minutes. If you have any questions, be sure to visit my Amazon Guys page. book a coaching call with me, Steven, or any of the other experts at My Amazon Guy. We'd be happy to help you. My name is Matt. I'm the Director of Advertising here at My Amazon Guy. Have a fantastic day.